Hello guys, how are you?
I'm Hardeep Singh. Welcome back to your own YouTube channel. IELTS updates and recent exams. For more updates related to recent IELTS exam writing test topics, listening, reading, practice test, and speaking, you got guesswork. Please, guys, participate in everyday listening and reading practice test to achieve your desired band score in your actual IELTS exam. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Press the bell icon for the upcoming notifications. Don't forget like, subscribe and share my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, IELTS updates and recent exams.
Part 1.
You will hear a woman telephoning a car hire company. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5.
Good afternoon, Baseline Car Hire. How can I be of assistance today? I've rented a car from your company in Edinburgh, and I would like to bring it back to you at your branch in York instead of Edinburgh. Can I have your name, please? Yes, it's Lauren Brady, Brady. Thank you. I just need to get some more details from you, and I'll bring you up on the computer screen. Okay. What is your date of birth? Why do you need that? I just need some data to confirm I have the correct booking. Oh, fine. It's the 5th of the 11th, 1987. The 5th of November, did you say? Yes. Okay, you have a 4-door diesel sedan that you picked up from the Edinburgh office on March 16th. Is that correct? Yes, I hired it for 7 days. Today is March 20th, so I have had it for 4 days. Okay, yes, I can see that you have hired it for 7 days and you have arranged to return it to the Edinburgh office on March 23rd. You want to change the drop-off location, did you say? Yes, I'm not returning to Edinburgh now, and I need to make a flight out of the country from London tomorrow, so I'm going to catch the train to London today. So, are you in York now? Are you catching the train from the station there? Yes, I'm catching the train this afternoon. I don't want to drive the car down to London, as there are problems in the centre of London, and I don't particularly like driving in London traffic anyway. What problems? My hotel is in the centre of London, and I would have to pay the congestion charges. It's only £11.50, but there is the bother of paying it online, and I just want to avoid all that. I understand. So what would you like to do with the car today? I'd like to leave it here and cancel the rest of my hiring days. I can arrange that for you.
Before you listen to the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 6 to 10.
What time did you say you were catching the train to London? I couldn't get on an earlier train. They were all booked out. So I am catching one at 6 o'clock. Is there a place at the station where I can leave the car, or do I have to bring it to your offices in York? No, not at all. You can leave it at the station in York. There is a drop-off point for all the car hire companies in the station car park. It should be manned at that time. What if there is no one there to take my car? That's not a problem. You just park the car in one of the bays with sign for Baseline Car Hire, lock it, and put the keys in the drop-off box. It's a secure blue container for people to put their keys. You can't miss it. Okay, I'll do that. I imagine there will be extra charges because I'm dropping the car off early. Yes, I'm afraid there are. Firstly, there is a £45 charge for not taking the car back to where you hired it from. This is called the change in drop-off point fee. We only charge you for 1 extra day if you return the car early. You have had the car for 4 days and you have booked it for 7, so you will be charged a total of 5 days. That is £50 per day, including insurance. So for 5 days plus the £45 charge, that will be a total of £295. I see here that you are paying by credit card. That's correct. Now, remember, when you are returning your car, it needs to have a full tank, or you will be charged for that as well. You mean I need to put petrol in the tank? Yes, the same level it was when you first drove away with it. I also suggest that you take photos of the vehicle to prove that it's not damaged when you drop it off, just as a precaution. Another tip is to send us an email after you have dropped the car off, just to confirm the time you have done it. I'm going to send you an email now to confirm the change in booking. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
That is the end of part 1.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 2.
You will hear a man talking about a new uniform for flight attendants. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 15.
This is to let all flight attendants, male and female, know that from February we are introducing new uniforms. They have been designed by award-winning stylist Marcia Beecroft. Thank you everyone for responding to her request for suggestions on the situations where it was important to have different features incorporated into the uniform. You will be happy to know that Marcia Beecroft has taken your requests into account, and you will see that many, or may I say most of them, and there were a lot of suggestions, have been used. Firstly, most requests were that all shirts, skirts and trousers should be made of stretch fabrics. We thought this was a great idea. Not only do these types of fabrics not require ironing and continue to look smart even throughout long flights, they are extremely comfortable. They are also good for when you are putting luggage up in overhead lockers, searching for objects on the ground, and passing trays across rows of passengers. The only thing that we must make clear is that these items of clothing are not to be machine washed. They either need to be dry cleaned or hand washed, and this includes the shirts because the spin cycle weakens the fibers. The shirts will drip dry very quickly after hand washing, so this is actually a better option than the old uniforms, especially for when you are in transit and staying in hotels. There was also a request from the female flight attendants to have trousers included in the uniform. We consider this a good idea, and now they can wear their dark blue suits as either skirt or trouser combinations with the jacket. You can see from this presentation that the colour scheme remains much the same, as they have to come from our logo. The only difference being that the shirts are now light grey instead of yellow, which we think is more low-key. It was high time that we made the change. We think Marcia Beecroft has done a fantastic job, and that the new uniforms are easy to look after and practical, as well as being professional.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, You have some time to look at questions 16 to 20.
The changeover day for the new uniform is February the 1st. This week, everyone needs to submit their dress size to us so we can order the uniforms and have them ready on time. They should be available in the last 2 weeks of January. The form to fill in for this is on the company's staff website. Anyone who, as a result of not handing in their size requirements on time, does not have a uniform on February the 1st will be officially grounded and not fly until they have the correct uniform. You will be given 3 shirts, 2 jackets and 3 pairs of trousers or skirts, depending on what you have requested. There is no charge for these new uniforms, but replacement pieces will not be given out for 1 year unless they are paid for. No part of the old uniform can be worn from February the 1st. We have a recycling project for the old uniforms, and there will be a bin positioned in the staff lounge at Heathrow Airport for you to put them in. Please put all your old uniforms in this bin during the first 2 weeks of February. I don't need to add that you need to wash them before they are put into the bin. The regulations for shoes remain the same, men in black lace-ups and women in pumps, with at least 2 inches of heel. I know many of you have requested having flat shoes like the men, but we think that a 2-inch heel is a good compromise. Hair and makeup regulations remain the same, and the company lipstick is the only colour that can be worn. If you decide to wear a skirt, the rule remains at 15 denier flesh-coloured stockings. Hair must be up and off the face at all times, and, as with the past uniform, there are no hats. Men are still not allowed to have facial hair, and their hair must be cut short and also off the face like the women. If you would like to see the new uniforms up close before they are given out, there will be 3 shop dummies dressed in the new outfits in the staff lounge at Heathrow from next week.
That is the end of part 2.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 3.
You will hear 2 students talking about a class assignment about wild bird rescue and rehabilitation. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 25.
Okay, let's go over the requirements and see what we have left to do.
Let's see. We have to give the professor a written summary of the information we've gathered on our topic, wild bird rescue and rehabilitation.
The other written thing we have to turn in is a case study of the rehabilitation of one bird. We have the information on that already.
Right. All we have to do is write it up. What about charts and graphs? Do we need to include something like that?
I don't think so. They aren't really relevant, but we do have to turn in a list of the resources we used.
Naturally. What about videos? I heard some of the other students were doing that.
Well, I guess that must be optional, because I don't see it on the requirements list. Okay, we should start planning our class presentation, since that counts for half the grade.
We've looked at lots of sources of information, but I think our best source was the interviews we did with the wildlife rehabilitators.
Agreed. That and the journal articles. I think we have enough information from those two sources for the presentation anyhow. The books we looked at weren't all that helpful.
I wonder if we should try to bring in some live birds for the presentation.
That would be too difficult, don't you think? But we have lots of photos of rehabilitated birds. We can show those.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 26 to 30.
Right. Okay, I think we should start by talking about how to rescue a bird. Probably first we should help people understand which birds need rescuing.
Yeah, that's really important. Because a lot of times people see a baby bird that's all alone, or they find a bird sitting on the ground and they think it needs to be rescued.
And usually those are just baby birds learning to fly. So we should emphasize that people should only attempt to rescue a bird that's clearly injured.
For certain kinds of birds, the rescuer needs to wear protective gloves because some of those birds have sharp claws and can tear your shirt, or worse, injure your face or some other part of your body.
Yes, that's an important point. Okay, next, let's tell people to put the injured bird in a box with good air circulation. We should let them know that a cage isn't necessary, and a bag, especially a plastic one, could hurt the bird more.
Another thing we need to say is that the best way to help the bird stay calm is not by petting it or talking to it, but by leaving it completely alone. Then people should take the bird to the bird rescue center as soon as possible.
Right, and we should also point out that when they're driving the bird to the rescue center, it's better not to play music on the radio or talk loudly, because those things just stress the bird.
Yes, it's better just to speak quietly while you have the bird in the car. Okay, we've got that part covered. Next we should talk about what happens at the rescue center.
That is the end of part 3.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 4.
You will hear a speaker giving a talk about some recent research about unusual life forms. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40.
Hello everybody, and welcome to the 6th of our ecology evening classes. Nice to see you all again. As you know from the programme, today I want to talk to you about some research that is pushing back the frontiers of the whole field of ecology. And this research is being carried out in the remoter regions of our planet, places where the environment is harsh and, until recently, it was thought that the conditions couldn't sustain life of any kind. But life forms are being found, and these have been grouped into what is now known as extremophiles. That is, organisms that can survive in the most extreme environments. And these discoveries may be setting a huge challenge for the scientists of the future, as you'll see in a minute. Now, the particular research I want to tell you about was carried out in Antarctica, one of the coldest and driest places on Earth. But a multinational team of researchers from the US, Canada and New Zealand recently discovered colonies of microbes in the soil there where no one thought it was possible. Interestingly enough, some of the colonies were identified as a type of fungus called Bouveria bassiana, a fungus that lives on insects. But where are the insects in these utterly empty regions of Antarctica? The researchers concluded that this was clear evidence that these colonies were certainly not new arrivals. They might have been there for centuries, or even millennia, possibly even since the last ice age. Can you imagine their excitement? Now, some types of microbes had previously been found living just a few millimetres under the surface of rocks, porous Antarctic rocks. But this was the first time that living colonies had been found surviving relatively deeply in the soil itself, several centimetres down, in fact. So, the big question is, how can these colonies survive there? Well, we know that the organisms living very near the rock's surface can still be warmed by the sun, so they can survive in their own microclimate. And this keeps them from freezing during the day. But this isn't the case for the colonies that are hidden under the soil. In their research paper, this team suggested that the very high amounts of salt in the soil might be the clue, because this is what is preventing essential water from freezing. The team found that the salt concentration increased the deeper down they went in the soil. But while they had expected the number of organisms to be fewer down there, they actually found the opposite. In soil that had as much as 3,000 parts of salt per million, relatively high numbers of microbes were present, which seems incredible. But the point is that at those levels of salt, the temperature could drop to minus 56 degrees before frost would cause any damage to the organisms. This relationship between microbes and salt, at temperatures way below the normal freezing point of water, is a really significant breakthrough. As you all know, life is dependent on the availability of water in liquid form, and the role of salt at very low temperatures could be the key to survival in these kinds of conditions. Now, the process at work here is called supercooling, and that's usually written as one word, but it isn't really understood as yet, so there's a lot more for researchers to work on. However, the fact that this process occurs naturally in Antarctica may suggest that it might occur in other places with similar conditions, including on our neighbouring planet, Mars. So, you can start to see the wider implications of this kind of research. In short, it appears to support the growing belief that extraterrestrial life might be able to survive the dry, cold conditions on other planets after all. Not only does this research produce evidence that life is possible there, it's also informing scientists of the locations where it might be found. So all of this might have great significance for future unmanned space missions. One specialist on Mars confirms the importance.
That is the end of part 4.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
So guys, don't forget like, subscribe and share my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, IELTS updates and recent exams. For more updates related to recent IELTS exam writing test topics, listening, reading, practice test and speaking, you got guesswork. Please guys, participate in everyday new IELTS listening and reading practice tests to achieve your desired band score in your actual IELTS exam. For more IELTS material, visit my official website www.ieltsupdatesandrecentexams.com. The link is given below in the description. If you need PDF files of latest IELTS material, then please join my Telegram channel. So guys, please write your score below the comment section. Again, thanks for listening. God bless you all guys. Stay tuned, stay safe.